Hi, it's Nathan again. I wanted to talk a little bit about my LED guitar and some of the things I did with this and why. I was inspired a little bit by Eddie Van Halen's Frankenstrat that he made. I remember reading about it and I thought it was hilarious how he had a single humbucker and a volume knob and that was it. He didn't know how to wire up the tone knob. He didn't use the single pickup he had because he didn't know how to wire the thing together, and yet he became, one of the most famous guitarists ever. And I was so inspired by his, ugly, ghetto guitar that he made. So when I made this, I wanted to make it as simple as possible. So what I did was I used a single humbucker pickup, just like he did, and I decided to do away with both the volume and the tone knobs. I liked the shape of a Stratocaster, but I also liked the plate of a Telecaster, so I decided I was going to do a Telecaster shaped plate, but then I decided to end up tilting it. And so I made my own plate out of aluminum. I can just cut this on a bandsaw and then just smooth it out and use a router bit to do this 45-degree bevel. So I made my own Telecaster style plate at an angle, and it's just as simple as it can possibly be. I don't really ever use my tone knobs because I like full bright tone. Anyways, you've probably seen the LEDs in action. I can just turn them all on and they look great and everything. So that's sort of the flair in this guitar, not necessarily the electronics. I also wanted to show you the back side to see what the control plates and the neck plate look like. So I made both of these out of aluminum as well. This is just a typical plate that you put 4 screws through. I actually used square head screws rather than Phillips. I'm not a huge fan of Phillips screwdrivers, Phillips screws in the first place, but I also made this custom control plate right here as a battery cavity, access to the switch and that sort of thing. So it's kind of fun making your own control plates out of aluminum. It'd be harder to make out of steel, but it's also possible. So yeah, there's my blue LED guitar and some of the reasons why I decided to get rid of the tone knob and the volume knob. It was sort of a simplicity kind of thing. The other thing I did is I decided to make this out of scrap poplar wood, and if you look closely on my little distressed finish here, you can actually see some of the layers. I just glued a bunch of strips of poplar together, and you can kind of see some vertical strips there on the wood, and when I sanded down through the paint you can kind of see them there. And I don't know why I decided to make it out of poplar or make it out of strips of poplar. I was just trying to be thrifty, I guess. Try to make this as simple as possible rather than using an exotic wood like mahogany or hard maple or something like that. So yeah, it's sort of a strange guitar. I won't do this again. I'm much more of a fan of using beautiful woods, things like mahogany, padauk, cocobolo. So in the future when I make more guitars, I'm going to stick to the good looking woods rather than using poplar or alder. So anyways, that's my guitar.